Do you ever flip through a magazine and say to yourself, I wish my house looked this good? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna show you just how to do that. I'm sharing 5 tips that will have your home looking magazine worthy. Now, whatever magazine you read, that's up for interpretation, but I'm talking Architectural Digest, Country Living, all of those design magazines. We're going to bring those designs to life with these quick hacks. Before we get into today's video though, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. But let's get into today's video, and I do want to thank Wayfair for sponsoring the video, but I'll tell you more about them later on. The first tip to making your home look magazine worthy is to put your art at the appropriate height. And that height is 57 inches. 57 inches what? What does that mean, Kiva? This means that whenever you're putting a piece of art up on the wall, the center of that piece of art should be at 57 inches high. That is the magic number. That number is going to take you super far. Something I see people do wrong all the time is they put their art way too high. They have it at 60 inches, 65 inches, and you're craning your neck to see the artwork, right? We don't want to be doing any of that. That's no exercise. We're not exercising. That's not what we're here to do today. Our gym days are Mondays and Wednesdays, and that's not today. So we want to make sure that we're not craning our neck to see the artwork. If you have to crane your neck, you're not going to look at the artwork, and then why did you spend money on it in the first place, right? We want to make sure that everyone who walks in can see that artwork. Not only does putting your artwork at 57 inches help you see the artwork, right, which is its primary purpose, but it also helps to balance out the room. Actually, when you put your art too high, it can make your ceilings seem smaller or shorter than they actually are, which is something that we never ever want to do. Again, it's all about 57 inches being the center of that art. That means that whatever painting or whatever it is you have, you want to measure it and you want to go to the middle point, and that middle point is where you want to be at 57 inches. For those of you who have extra tall ceilings, right, ceilings that are not 8 feet or 9 feet, you can shift the artwork up by a few inches, but I never want that center part of your artwork to be higher than 62 inches. We want to stop there. Even if you have super mega tall ceilings, unless you're buying super mega tall artwork, you still want to stick to this rule. I promise you, go into your living room and shift your artwork around right now, and I know that this is going to take you super far. The only time that we would have like an exception to this would be when we are nesting our artwork with our bed or our sofa, but a lot of the times it does still end up being around 57 inches. The next tip to a magazine worthy home is to bring design into every room, even unexpected places like bathrooms and pantries. Designer spaces are curated from top to bottom, and I literally mean top to bottom. We think about everything. When the design stops or changes abruptly, a home feels disjointed and unfinished. You know, designers, you think about the flooring, the finishes, the furniture, the art. We're thinking about everything. So if it randomly stops or there's just nothing in a room, it's kind of off-putting, right? This is especially prevalent in bathrooms. We all have that bathroom that looks like we just moved in. We haven't done anything to it. There's nothing up on the walls, and it always is the powder room that people go into when they're staying over. And you're like, no, I haven't done it yet. Another place this also happens is the pantry. It turns into a room we enter during each grocery trip, and then we ultimately ignore and label as the room of doom. I know, because that's literally what I call my pantry. This especially happens when you're into bulk buying, but you have yet to come up with a great organization plan. But truthfully, having an organized pantry not only helps you maximize your money and food, but also helps with the flow and cohesion of your home. In fact, in the newest episode of Interior Motives, we talk all about how to craft a designer pantry for those of us who are hooked on bulk buying. It was such a relatable episode for me. If you aren't familiar with Interior Motives, it's my new show on the Wayfair YouTube channel. You probably know Wayfair from their website, where you can find furniture for all of your design needs, but you may not know about their YouTube channel, which is full of tons of great shows like Interior Motives, A Style is Born, and The Small Stuff. On Interior Motives, we talk about the parts of design that are a bit troublesome. I'm talking about closets, organization, bathrooms, dual purpose spaces, and then we come up with a design plan that just makes sense. The newest episode of Interior Motives is all about crafting a pantry that looks like an extension of the home, instead of a closet where food goes to magically disappear. I mean, it really ends up like Narnia sometime, and that is what we're tackling. I also share tons and tons of storage options that maximize space and look great. Go check out the full episode of Interior Motives and subscribe to Wayfair if you want to stay up to date on all of their great content. I've included a link down in the description box and you won't regret it. Now let's talk about the next tip for a magazine-worthy home. The next tip to crafting a magazine-worthy home is to angle your overhead lighting. So you're probably saying, Kiva, you want me to get up on a ladder? Yes, we're getting up on a ladder. We are Bob the Builder today, so put on your hard hat and let's go. So I actually want you to angle your track lighting. And if you don't have track lighting, this one does not apply to you. Track lighting is basically lighting that is on like a bar, right? And you have different spotlights. That is a different way to think about it if you don't know what track lighting is. When we have track lighting, we normally just like angle it just down, right? We're like, okay, it's down, it's looking at my coffee table, it's generally looking at my space. But we can actually take that track lighting in specific places like our libraries and hallways and angle them. Now in a hallway, that's where people tend to have gallery walls, right? We're showing portraits, we're showing paintings, we're showing family photos, and we have tons of them. And we want to highlight those pieces, especially since in hallways, we can't always have picture lights because there are no electrical sockets. What we're going to do is get up on our ladders, right? Have someone spot you, right? Because we don't want to fall, because I've been there, done that. You don't want that. And you want to angle the lights down at the artwork. It actually highlights your artwork and it looks so incredibly moody. This is what you see them do at museums, luxury hotels, luxury pretty much anything. I don't know if they do this at luxury stores because that would just be weird, right? Maybe they do it for the purses, but you want to angle the lighting down at specific items so that you are highlighting them, right? When you're filling a hallway or a room with lots of things, you want to spotlight the different vignettes so that you know where to look. You need to direct someone's eyesight, right? So actually using these track lightings is a really phenomenal thing to do. Now, this is not something where I'd say angle it right down at your television. Your television is not something you want to draw more attention to. We're going to angle our lights at things we want to be more focal pieces in whatever room that we are designing. And again, you do have to get up on a ladder to do this, but I promise you it's going to make a huge difference. And another thing to go with this is to explore the different angles that you can rotate your lights to, because a lot of the times we don't realize that we can rotate these lights. So we have one light pointing somewhere really weird and creepy and just like unnecessary, and we're missing out on all that precious light. And light is amazing and light is so powerful. So we want to maximize that. So give this a try. There's so many cool ways that you can illuminate your hallways and your libraries and places where you have a lot of things on the wall, and it will really elevate your space instantly. Now, my very next designer tip to make your home look magazine worthy is to buy storage furniture. I say this time and time again, and I think that you guys are just ignoring me for fun, right? I know that a lot of storage options are not the most beautiful, but if you do the searching, you will find something fantastic. Now, this especially is relevant when you come to a coffee table. So if you're buying a new coffee table, you need to buy a storage coffee table. Now, I recognize that a lot of these coffee tables look super farmhouse. You're like, I'm not Old McDonald. I don't want that for me. I don't want the live, laugh, love. I appreciate that. We can still get the storage without having to get that look. So you can search contemporary, modern, really whatever style you want, and you can get a storage coffee table. One of the best ways to find a storage coffee table that doesn't look like a storage coffee table is to find one made out of really high quality wood or wood veneer or metal, right? Because the way that they can really work the angles really looks super sophisticated, and you have no idea that it's storage. You want to find storage that's hidden, right? You don't want to have like the little exposed shelves or the little exposed drawers. You want things that are so inconspicuous that you're like, wow, there's storage in that? Who would have ever known? We want to do this because coffee tables become so incredibly cluttered. They're one of the most cluttered places in any home, apart from like your entry table. These get overrun with things because we don't have anywhere to put our remotes, our food, our whatever it is we like to use while we're lounging about in the family room or the living room. So if we have storage, we can take care of those things. Again, you can also use these coffee tables for your throw blankets, your extra throw pillow covers, your candles, things that you need access to in the living room, but you don't want on display 24/7. I'm telling you, this is going to really save time for you when you're cleaning and you're organizing your space. So this is something you definitely want to start doing. Now, we are not just talking about coffee tables though. The same thing applies to storage. And again, I say this over and over again, but I have to keep reiterating it because I'm seeing too many open shelves. But you need some closed shelving in your home. You need some, because your closets, they're bursting at the seams. They're just going to come crumbling down at some point. You can't keep stuff in all of your stuff into that hall closet that no one goes into. You guys remember that episode of Friends? Like that? We don't want that. So you need to have some closed storage. You don't have to have completely closed cabinets, because I know that that can be super domineering, but if we just have some place to tuck away some things, it's going to be so much more powerful. Plus, it's going to save you time and money, because styling open shelves is no joke, especially when there's so many of them. There's nothing more exhausting to me than styling an open shelf. Run a marathon. Okay, that's a bad example because I definitely couldn't do that, but I'd rather go do some type of rigorous exercise before I style shelves that are open, because woo, it is super hard. So it'll save you time and it'll save you money, because decor is pricey. And if we have fewer shelves, we don't have to buy quite as much decor. Now, this next tip to a magazine-worthy home is definitely my favorite, and it is a little bit labor-intensive, but I promise you it's going to take you so far. What I want you to start doing is concealing your televisions. You're like, ugh, again? You're on this again? I'm on this again because it's so important. In a magazine-worthy home, it's not that they don't have televisions, because most people do. You gotta sit down and watch the newest episode of Interior Motives. But you wanna have your TV styled in a way that is very inconspicuous. You don't know what's there. It is not the center of attention. And there's so many ways to do this. The first way to do this is to create a gallery wall around your television, right? If there are other pieces of art around your television, you're not just looking at the television. The next way to do this is to build a frame for your television. Of course, you can buy a TV that has a frame with it, but you can also just go to the thrift store and buy a frame and put it over top of your television. A little bit more labor intensive, but so much more affordable, and you get something custom. Something I see people do all the time is they actually hang a tapestry or a piece of art in front of that television using some curtain rod hardware. I think that this looks fantastic because I love when people display tapestries and textiles because it adds so much texture to the wall. So you can actually have it on like a slider so that you can see the TV when you want to use it, and it's concealed all of the rest of the time. Another way people conceal their televisions is actually just with like a valance or some type of curtain, right? You kind of have a false window situation. Just make sure to put your TV on a wall where a window would make sense. If you're putting it on a wall that's shared with a bedroom, that doesn't make any sense, and you're not fooling anybody. I think more than anything, people are going to be like, is there a construction error back there, right? And we don't want any construction errors, but otherwise, this is one of my favorite hacks. I actually see this in designer homes all the time. And I also see this in designer hotels like One Hotel and Soho House. They do this to conceal the televisions because televisions are eyesores, let's just face it. But we can conceal them in so many different ways. You can also use room dividers and pretty much anything you can stack in front of the television to conceal it. Just choose the option that is the easiest for you to use so that it's not a hassle to watch TV and also conceal it. Okay, you guys, that is it for today's video. Those were 5 ways to achieve a magazine-worthy home. I'm telling you, you're going to be on the cover of, Architectural Digest next month because of all these tips. Or if not Architectural Digest, your local magazine, right? Because your house is going to look super good. All of these tips are really easy to apply and will really elevate your home and take it to the next level. If you liked today's video, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And again, please go head over to the Wayfair YouTube channel and subscribe so that you don't miss any of their fantastic content and so that you can stay up to date on Interior Motives. We have new episodes coming out and you are not going to want to miss them. Of course, I've included a link down in the description box so that you can head over to the Wayfair YouTube channel, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Until next time, have a beautiful day.